know for a fucking fact is the Democrats and the leftists in this room are making false rape allegations all the time. So read the motherfucking link. I'm done.
Thank you so much. Ms. Clark, I have a question for you. Which side do you think is more?
Yeah, go ahead.
Which side do you feel suffers more from Trump dementia syndrome? MAGA or far left?
I'm so sorry, JB, you're breaking out on my end. Can you say that one more time?
Sure. I said, which side do you think suffers from TDS, Trump dementia syndrome, more? Would that be MAGA or would that be the far left?
Ooh, that's a hard question because for me, both of y'all asses is neck and goddamn neck. I'm gonna be honest. That's an independent voter. Like y'all each have y'all ways and pendulums of which y'all swing. So that's a very difficult question for me to answer at this point in time. Because to me, both of y'all niggas is the same side of the fucking coin. So that's just all I'm gonna say to that. But real quick to this thing, to the Jeffrey Epstein thing and us talking about the Trump files and everything, let's be realistic. The government has had these files, point blank period. The government has had these files. They could have been released the information on there. And the reality is everybody in this room knows why it hasn't been released. And it's more than likely because the people that are on that client list is going to be a lot of political figures and high-powered people on both sides of the fucking aisle. And it's just going to be this tit-for-tat back and forth. Because last time, and forgive me if I'm wrong, they've had these files since like 2018, at least the client list, since 2018. When Biden was in, he had more than enough time to release it, and now that Trump is in, realistically, he has more than enough time to release it. Let's be honest, it is the government as a whole that is not wanting to release these files. Because whoever's on that client list, much like how we had the situation with Pizzagate, I'm pretty sure all of you remember, for some reason, the government, and when I say government, that means Republicans and Democrats going to this weird pizza place to quote-unquote eat pizza, and this random pizza man was so deep inside with the fucking government, which is absolutely fucking wild. Let's be realistic about this case overall. The government does not want it released. And when we talk about the presidency, I think, JB, correct me if I'm wrong, did we not in your room, I want to say like 2 days ago, go over multiple videos of the Trump saying if he was going to release the Epstein files? Now, personally, me, if we want to play semantic games, I've never heard the man say that he was going to promise. I heard in about 4 or 5 different interview videos that were played, people asked him about it, and he said, yes, if we're going to release it, we're going to release it. We can. I'm going to try to put it out there if I can, so on and so forth. That's what I heard. To me, him saying I'm going to put it out there if I can is not a promise of I'm going to release those things, right? So unless somebody has some evidence, like I said, I'm open, I'm independent. If you can play a video of him saying, I promise to release the Jeffrey Epstein files, then yeah, hold his ass to fucking task. But at the end of the day, we're talking about this shit because this is stupid shit that gets on my nerve, kind of like how the whole weird inflation comment. They've had it. The government has had it. So they've had it for years.
Ms. Clark, I agree. The government, I agree there's probably a bunch of Democrats on the list, a bunch of Republicans on the list. Biden could have released it. Trump could have released it. I agree with all that. But Trump ran on the Republican wet dream of, this wasn't like a major policy or a major campaign platform or anything, but he ran on the Republican MAGA wet dream of releasing the list. Pam Bondi had the thing on her desk. That's the kind of outrage here. It's like, you said you were going to release, Biden never said he was going to release the list. This dude said, yeah, we're going to release the list. We're going to put the Epstein list out there. Pam Bondi had the thing on her desk, and all of a sudden, nope, we're not going to release it. Sounds like this dude is dancing around, saying anything, trying to do anything.
Wait a second, Sydney, can you put a link in the chat that's where he says he's going to release the files?
Yeah, I mean, I'll look for it. I remember, kind of anecdotally throughout the whole campaign, this was some statements that he made. I'll look for some references to it. I don't have a specific article in mind right now, but I'll try to find one.
Yeah, and to your point, can I say this real quick?
Let's just okay, so let's just pretend, let's say that he didn't say he was going to release the list. think we can all agree that was a MAGA wet dream to release the list because it was filled with nasty pedophile Democrats. I mean, I think we can all agree on that.
No, I can agree with you on that. I think a lot of Republicans wanted it to be released because they feel like there's a lot of Democrats on there. I'm gonna give you that, right? My whole thing is this is one of the things that kind of like make my gears turn. If he is on that list, realistically, the Democrats would have released it. They would have redacted any information that would have been harmful to them, and they would have put it out there instead of going after Trump after these weird-ass court cases. I think we all can understand that the court cases that they tried to go after Trump for was a bunch of bullshit. But you mean to tell me that you have the future president of the United fucking States on a client list? I don't give a damn if I want to win. I don't give a fuck if some of my people go down.
Oh,
It's going out there, which is why I'm kind of like, there's more to it than just that. There has to be something or some people on that list that's very powerful. Because even with the Republican situation, if I believe that there was more Democrats on there than fucking Republicans, I do believe that the Republicans would have released it. But I think that there's a powerful person on there. You know, as my husband is saying, Israel is on there, and they don't want that information to come out.
Well, thank you, guys. Everybody mute up. Everybody mute up. Agent, man, this is the issue I have with you, bro. Just let's get some new speakers involved, because it's gonna start sounding like an echo chamber. We have 2 new speakers on stage. Hold on, Alan. Thank you.
You said I was next.
Okay, you'll be all right. I'll come back to you. You know, I always get you in. But I want to say good morning to Tommy real quick. Good morning, Tommy.
Good morning, sir. How are you?
I'm doing well. And yourself?
Good. Just 2 little things. If Trump had been having sex with 15 and 16-year-olds, those people are now adults. Where's the lawsuits on those? I would think they'd be coming front and center to create the money grab. And quite frankly, some of the people would complain on here that Trump promised he was going to release the records, but presidents promise all kinds of stupid shit when they're running for president, and half the time they don't deliver. Trump has far more delivered on crap that he promised than any other president I've ever known.
Thank you, Tommy. Hold on, everybody. Let me say good morning to XG. XG, good morning.
Good morning, JP. How you doing, man?
I'm doing great. Yourself?
I'm doing good, dude.
Do you want to chime in? You sound like you need some coffee.
Yeah, I do need coffee, you're right, but I do want to chime in. I'm just glad that everything is playing out how it's supposed to be. Just more contradictions on top of more contradictions. There's no list. Now I'll give you a list of the names that'll be associated with them. You can look into everybody but me. It's okay. Look into everybody else's connections but mine. Like, I'm sorry, but if all these people have the same amount of evidence against them that he does, especially considering the whole narrative that, which I agree with, just being on a flight log doesn't mean that you're guilty of something. If that's all the evidence that's also there, and that's what he's putting against Clinton, like, well, Clinton's been on 28 flights. He's even more guilty. Like, there's no evidence there unless you know something nefarious has happened that no one else knows about, that something's going on. But unfortunately, the evidence that the people that he named in that little list thing or whatever have just as much quote-unquote credible evidence against them doing things to minors as he does. So if he wants to say that that's the smoking barrel for looking at those 2, well, he kind of just killed himself at the same aspect because all the evidence is the same for all 3 of them.
Thank you, XG. Alan, the mic is yours, sir.
Yeah, and why are people so focused on this list? I think people are focused on it because, in the last year, during his campaign, Trump might have talked about it, and the right wanted to hear the list. Why did they want the list to come out? Because for the last 10 years, the left has been accusing Trump of being a pedophile based on that list. Oh, and the fact that his teenage daughter sat on his lap. That's it. So the left is saying, oh, it isn't us, it's the right that's creating this whole controversy, ignoring the fact that they're the ones who created it. And again, I'll reiterate, hundreds of pages of court documents, witness victim testimony, and Trump is not associated with any criminal misconduct. But let's get to the real point. The real point is the fact that we don't want harm to come to children. And yes, if Trump turned out, yes, there was conclusive evidence he was sexually molesting kids, the right would not be happy about it, but they would condemn him, and they would condemn him outright. What does the left do? And again, we would do it because we believe in the principle of protecting children. What does the left do? The pathological liars that they are, they harm children as well, but they frame it as, quote, gender affirming care. That's their lie. And they are, and they don't hide it. At least pedophiles try to hide that what they're doing is wrong. The left does the same thing, and yes, it also promotes pedophilia, and it does it out in the open with things such like minor attracted persons. Oh, and excuse me,
they do minor attractive persons that's gay or part of the LGBT. You're fucking retarded.
Yeah. I don't know who said that, but I'm sorry. I can't find it now, but I remember distinctively Harvey Fierstein, the openly gay actor who was in the film The Day After Tomorrow, coming out with a public service announcement telling gay men to stop being predators to teenage boys. And I've been on this app listening to gay men promote grooming of teenage boys. So don't talk to me about how that's a separate part of
Hold on.
The point is,
Alan, let you play.
yeah, the point is that the right condemns pedophiles and openly condemns them. The left lies about it and promotes it as a good thing. That's the difference.
Thank you. Sean B., how you doing, Sean B.?
Hey, JP, it's good to see you. I just wanted to respond to your who has more TDS, the left or the MAGA, the MAGA, the mega MAGA people. And I'll still say to this day that it's the left. The reason why is that if you look at it, I would ask a person how many people they know that are MAGA megalomaniacs versus the liberals, who just basically like, you support Trump, fuck you. Don't care who you are, the person you are. As soon as they find out, they fucking dump you in a goddamn garbage truck. Okay, that's California. I live in California, and I can tell you the craziness of TDS is on the left. It's not on. There are crazy MAGAs. Totally. That's all I wanted to say. But it's nice to see you, man. And I appreciate the stage.
Thank you for coming up.
To be like Alan.
Well, I was going to go to XG next and then Tomato because he has no control. But XG, I'm just going to say this. Look, I don't share all these spaces with Alan. I don't know what he's heard from gay men. I've never heard a gay man try to groom teenagers. But did you want to chime in, XG?
Yeah, because it's all fucking bullshit. Like, the majority of it is just a stupid-ass fucking right-wing talking point that's existed for I don't know how long, of trying to somehow equate the gays with pedophilia in some way, shape, or form. Even though the majority of people that we see that are pedophiles are straight people, that are men that prey on little girls. You guys are so fucking worried about the trans bathroom because you're worried about men preying on little girls, not the other way around. Or else you would have been concerned about fucking adults in the boys' bathroom. Like, if we're going through this whole fucking idea of pedophilia, let's talk about the fucking leaders that you have in. Are we completely forgetting about what happened and how long y'all had Matt Gaetz hanging around, even post the flight with the 17-year-old that got released? Like, if we're so worried about fucking pedophiles this, pedophiles that, it seems like over the last couple of years, the only consistent people that have been fucking with kids have been fucking right-wingers inside of politics. I'm so sorry. You're throwing stones from fucking glass houses. And this is the deflection that always comes in too. We started at talking about Trump. We end at talking about the gays and talking about the Democrats because none of the Republicans can ever fucking take accountability because their parents never showed them how to take accountability as a man or how to be a man growing up, even though they want to complain about the femininity of our generation.
Thank you so much, X. You want to go to Tomato? Tomato?
You know, JB, you're a New Yorker. I think we have a lot of New Yorkers in the room. And all New Yorkers remember the progressive community framing up a Republican called Stephen Pagonis, right? The progressive leftist community found a 15-year-old girl and they accused Stephen Pagonis of raping her. And it ruined his life. It drove him to the edge of suicide. And that was 100% on the Democrats, the progressives, the leftists in New York. Now I'm going to post a room chat. The 15-year-old girl who falsely accused him of raping her was named Tawana Brawley. And so when we talk about putting child molesters in prison, no one wants child molesters put in prison more than the people in this room. But when it comes to falsely accusing people, taking people you know are innocent and getting them put in prison just out of sheer partisan hatred, it's 100% the progressives in the room that are responsible. So read the link if you think I'm exaggerating, JB.
Well, Tomato, I don't want to see. Here's well, I don't know if it's a problem. It's just maybe an issue with me. Is making these groups, the Democrats or the Republicans or MAGA, as monoliths, right? Because not all Democrats think the same. God knows I don't. I'm probably going to get excommunicated out of that party. But we're not all the same. We don't have the same thoughts. So, I think here's where the problem really is. This whole conversation shows the division in our country. Of course, in my opinion, all parties want to prosecute child molesters, child rapists. Of course, if you don't, then then you shouldn't be in America. But this division is so stark. I mean, just this conversation alone. And just like all Republicans aren't MAGA, all Democrats aren't like the Tawana Brawley case. And that was led by Al Sharpton, by the way. So, guys, we're going to go popcorn style. I'm asking you to respect the space and have one mic at a time. If somebody's speaking, just wait till they're finished. Okay, guys. Bueller.
I'm surprised no one's talking about the White House presser with Tulsi Gabbard. Calling it all out. The Steele dossier, all of it. All
yeah,
lies.
but Sean,
all fake.
It's coming out now that she didn't release the entire file on that. She released enough to make Obama look bad. Now, look, I'm not an Obama apologist, but when you just release bits and pieces to give, to satiate people's appetite, that's not cool. And listen, I don't care what side of the aisle you're on. To call Obama a traitor, it's ridiculous.
Well, I think that's the primary problem, JB. I think you're absolutely accurate on that. And that's the primary problem. We're talking about Epstein. We're talking about files being released. Talking about the half answers coming out of the White House, no matter who's the commander in chief. I think that's accurate.
I read all 144 pages of the release. It's exactly what she said it is.
But did you hear? You read the release. But did you hear what I said? From what I understand, Alan, not everything was released. But go ahead.
Yeah, well, yes, I understand that, and I understand your skepticism. I was skeptic as well. But having read the whole thing, what you see is the fact that the intelligence community kept saying, there's nothing here. Russia is not only is Russia not capable of doing this, but they're not going to have any effect on the election. And suddenly Obama has a meeting, and suddenly it's well, we have to put out a report not discussing if they did something, if they affected the election, but that they did, contrary to what the intelligence community was saying. And so the good little minions came out and said, okay, I guess this is what our president wants, and that's the report that came out, and that's the narrative that was used to undermine the presidency. The question is, if you have all of your intelligence community, except for James Comey, and we know why he objected to the reports, after his own FBI said there's nothing there.
Wait, Alan, hold on, respectfully, man.
Yeah, sure.
And this is a point that's been brought up 1,000 times in just this space alone. What does it have to do with Trump and Epstein? That's the deflection that Republicans.
Well, no.
Everything, but let's get off Trump and Epstein. Let's talk about Obama. Let's talk about James Comey. Let's talk about Hillary. You know, and I don't even know if some of you people, if it don't apply, let it fly on. Some of you people even realize that you're doing it because it's become so normalized to deflect. But please land your plane because FG's going to have a show.
Yeah, well, the topic was brought up, and that's why I'm talking about it. It has nothing to do with it. I agree, except that they're all pathological liars. There's your unifying.
You and I agree on that point 1,000,000%. And here's another thought I had as we're having this conversation today. Who the fuck would really want to be a politician nowadays? Look at all the smoke and probably 90% of it's bullshit. Like that whole. The truth is this: I think Trump's conviction was a bullshit conviction. They changed the law to get the guy, but people don't want to talk about that. They rather say it's Donald Trump, so he's automatically guilty. I don't drink that Kool-Aid. But let me go to XG and then Isaac. Come on, go ahead, XG.
Yeah, I just think it's hilarious that Alan just tried to define the intelligence committee as some type of slam dunk against us when Trump literally just did that shit in the whole Iran situation and completely said, "Not my intelligence community is wrong." No, then they're wrong. That's what they said, then they're wrong. Like, well, what are we talking about? I'm not sure how define their intelligence community as if that's literally not what your little god just did a couple months ago.
Thank you, XG. Good afternoon, Isaac. How you doing? Isaac, are you there? All right, guys, we're going to go popcorn style. If you want to speak, grab the mic. Disrespect the speakers.
I'm confused. What was the Trump ignoring on the intelligence communities? Because I do believe that they did have a sit down in a summit, and he disagreed with their proposals, which every president will get a proposal from a plethora of entities, joint chiefs, etc., and he gets an actual choice to make that determination, and he consults a lot of people. So I'm confused. How did he defy the intelligence agencies? Because last I checked, he didn't report to the intelligence agencies.
Yeah, sure. So it was when he rejected their full-on reports and pronounced that the program from the American strikes and the 3 sites that we had, that they were completely and fully obliterated. But he rejected the reports that the intelligence community had put out and what they had analyzed and what they had announced during that point, completely going against the grain of what they had said.
So you have access to the report. You don't, I don't, nobody does, and we actually don't. And the only way that information was leaked out, when you actually follow that rabbit hole down, it says anonymous source, and it was quoted by CNN, I believe, that said, "Hey, anonymous source at the White House or at the intelligence agency tells us," which leads me to believe that probably not, because it wasn't a full press release.
And I think there's a difference
what I'm
between...
is that a U.S. intelligence report suggests that Iran's nuclear program has been set back only a few months after the U.S. strikes and was not completely and fully obliterated, as President Donald Trump had said, according to two people familiar with the early assessment that's coming from AP. So I'm not trying to use like a CNN or one of them little fucking like news shows or whatever. I'm just going off AP. I'm trying to
Hold on a second. So XG, let's say it wasn't a success. Is this man supposed to come out and say, "Oh, we fucked up, it wasn't a success"? I don't give him smoke for that. And by the way, the Iranian government has come out and has said that I think 80 to 85% of their nuclear capability has been eliminated. But before I go to Brad and Alan, to the other mods, Jordan, Nye, Sid, are you guys there? Nye?
Yeah.
I gotta go. Have a real life.
Okay,
you guys want to keep it open? Yeah, thank you. All right, so I'm gonna go. Guys, play nice, and I'll see you later.
Yeah, and I think there's a difference between disagreeing with the effectiveness effectiveness of a military strike and purposely undermining the American confidence in the election process,
Is that not
which is
always
precisely what Obama did.
Which is precisely what Trump had done during 2020 when he refused
Yeah,
to say that
who
he
did it
lost.
first? Who did it first? What's good for the goose is good for the gander.
Wait. If Obama
Who
did
did
it,
it first?
If Obama did it, he's fucking wrong for doing so. Trump is equally as wrong for doing so. The difference in between you and I is that I will throw away with Obama. I will throw away Clinton. I'll throw away. You can throw away.
Throw away Kennedy.
Make every fucking excuse possible.
Actually, you know that they're not going to throw away Obama. You know that, and you're not even with that party. You're not even politically aligned with the left, like in the common sense. You're not even on that side. You know damn good and well that they're going to fucking rally the wagons, do some just fucking scam. What? Fucking millions of dollars. Hasn't passed one permit for the people of the wildfires. Collected all that money. Everybody's circling the wagon saying Newsom's the greatest thing. He's going to be our president. And he just fleeced his own people on a benefit concert for fire aid. And he created an NGO to do it. And they're still circling saying he's going to be the greatest. They're not going to. And you aren't even buying their shit. You don't even care about them. You wish they would all drop off a cliff and die.
Wait, I completely agree with you, Brad. I'll put it in one sense. I wish that half my party would jump off a cliff and die. Absolutely. No doubt about it. But at the same time, when it comes to people from my party or Trump, when it comes to screwing the middle class over, yeah, I'll take a Newsom. Fuck it. I'll take a Newsom over a Trump. I'm not going to lie.
So see, and that's where we will differ. I will take a Trump over a Newsom. I absolutely will. And I don't like a lot of the Republicans. I don't like the decision. I don't like the big, beautiful bill. But we can never get into that because I'll have some other libtard come up here and go, Obama, give me some fucking pontification about how great Biden was.
No, Brad, you've heard me make the point before, specifically about the big, beautiful bill, saying, like, hey, doesn't it seem kind of hypocritical from the party that always was championing, always push one single issue on a bill, and if it's good, and if that bill's good enough, it should be able to pass by itself. No big bills, pass it by itself.
I absolutely
and
agree.
then all of a sudden, you get this big, beautiful bill out of fucking nowhere being supported by the entire party.
I agree with you. I don't like it. I don't like the complexities of it. I don't like the vagueness of some of the points in it and some of the passage. I don't like where the funds are going because there's going to be no accountability on it. And to me, it's no different than the CARES Act, 1 or 2. It's just I don't like it. I really don't like it. I don't call this a win for Donald Trump. I don't call it a win for America. Is the party going to get a lot of what they wanted? Yeah, you are. But it's going to come at a cost, and it's not going to happen in the way you think it is. But we'll see. I may be wrong. I might be a little bit of a pessimist. I might be wrong, but I don't think it's going to work out well.
Yeah, that's Rand Paul. That's.
I'm not a Rand Paul fan. I think Rand Paul.
Neither am I, Brad. The point is, and Marshall has explained this in detail. I don't know all the details, but the way it stands is. All it takes is for one senator or one representative to object. I think it's in the Senate. That all it takes is one person to object, make some procedural objection to any bill, and then it essentially shuts down that bill. So it forces the Congress into these continuing resolutions and into these huge bills where it's like the only way they can approve a budget for anything, for even the government to run, is to have those big bills in which everything, including the kitchen sink, is thrown into it. So as of right now, that's until they change that rule or we get Rand Paul out of the government. Though if he didn't do it, I bet you somebody else would. We're stuck with this form of, allocation for our money and the way spending goes.
But wouldn't we expect a rule change, especially considering you have like especially the big touting of Doge getting rid of government waste, and the big tout of Trump, which is changing all the things that are wasteful, the corruption, quote unquote, which would be which I would see as a little bit corrupt, just purposely extending fucking hearings so we can keep beefing up bills and putting more vague shit in there. I would say that's kind of corrupt. So from the promises on that end, don't you think he should have or would have done something about it by now?
Yeah, but I'm not. See, it's something like eliminating the filibuster. I think it might be you need 60 whatever, and you know, when there's some tactical advantage, nobody wants to get rid of it.
You mean just removing the filibuster? Yeah, but actually, you're right. Like, we should get rid of those bills because at one point we didn't do that. We actually have line item bills that went through Congress, and it wasn't that long ago. For the most part, we've only been a short country. I know it's hard to believe, but we've only been around 250 years. It's only a few generations. Like, relax, everybody. We can do things a little bit differently now. What we have done is allowed Congress to basically do a lot of things that isn't really beneficial to us. And that's on both sides of the aisle. I agree with that one. I don't like these big, huge continuing resolutions. I don't like omnibus bills. I think they're a detriment. I think it's impossible that you believe your senators and Congress people actually are reading these on any side of the aisle. I mean, you might get one or two, but I'm telling you, this 50 to 75,000 federal what are they? Special K, whatever they are. Those workers that are underneath that are actually writing your bills and taking into account all the lobbyists and all the little grifts that they want to have on there. Those guys, the Schedule F employees, those guys, you want to remove them because they're the ones that shouldn't be writing the bills. You actually elect somebody to go there and work on a bill and write the bill. And for those that are going to come back at me and say, well, we need those people, they understand the language. No, we didn't. We didn't have them. We don't need them. We never needed them. You just want to rely on them because it's a quick, easy way for your favorite PAC or lobbyist group to get in at your senator, to throw it in there, to give them their cue-card talking points so they can make a fucking a hell of a good speech for 5 minutes on CNN or C-SPAN at some point in time.
Here's my question to you, Brad and Alan. Either one of you can answer. Brad, you know my economic position, but I'm pretty sure both of y'all are capitalists, right?
Yes, but I'm a controlled capitalist. I believe in controls. I'm not a free capitalist, like a free market kind of guy.
Okay.
You know I am not that way.
If you're there, or is he still on the phone call?
I have no idea.
Alan?
Okay, maybe he's still on the phone call and he's just not showing. But no, I guess my big case, because I know there's a lot of free market caps, so maybe this criticism doesn't apply to you specifically, Brad, right? But would you say that there's a lot of people who do support Trump that are free market capitalists?
I would say that because they believe he's going to tout with his Bitcoin bill, which I think is going to backfire. I think a lot of people think it's going to backfire. And I think Trump is not a free market capitalist. He just wants controls in one.
Okay, yeah, so I agree with the whole Bitcoin tanking, for sure. I agree that, and I think another criticism we can get into in a little bit that I think is valid is Trump's very weird switch up of crypto and how he felt about it in the span of 3 years, completely changing up from 2021 all the way to 2024 and 25. But one of the criticisms I had, especially towards the majority of the base that is free market capitalist, is how, and Roger made it the other day, which I think was an amazing point, how you tout yourself to be a principled free market capitalist, yet you and the majority of the party base are caping for the tariffs and supporting them. It doesn't make sense to be a free market capitalist that's supposedly principled, but now also support insane protectionist tariffs at the same time.
I would have a problem with that. I'm actually for the tariffs. I think we should go back to that way, and I think we should also utilize the tariffs to lower our tax burdens in this country. A quick history lesson for those that don't know, that's how we used to fund our government, is through tariffs. It was only recently, we changed it historically. But I mean, actually, I'm okay with tariffs. But again, I'm okay with a lot of things. I think we should have legislation against monopolies. I think a lot of companies currently that I can see, I think Amazon should be broken up. I'll be the first to say it. I don't want to take his wealth. But I think that if you have too much control in the space and you actually have too much legislative power through all 50 states and territories, that it prevents any competition from arising.
Hey, that's one thing we can agree on.
I agree. I want legislation to break that up. I am not a free market guy. I want a free opportunity for everybody. It doesn't mean you get to control the entire entity.
So you're in favor. So let me put it this way: you are a capitalist, but you are in favor of regulation that increases opportunity for others to compete.
Correct. I'm also in massive favor for regulations like for PG&E. I want more regulations on PG&E and electrical companies nationwide. Why? Because PG&E recently, 5 years ago, got their profits protected by a small state legislation push to make sure their profits were there. But they were causing massive wildfires. This is an electrical company out west. I don't think they should be entitled to have that protection. I don't think they should have that. I think you should be going after them. I think we as people should hold them accountable because it was your fucking transformers that were exploding, causing wildfires, killing people, burning homes, millions of acres of land. And I don't want companies destroying this earth. I don't want pollutants. I don't want people dumping nuclear waste. I think free markets cannot account for how to control the vast genocide and destruction that will occur if we just lift off all these and just allow the free market to exist. It won't balance out because we already see what these companies do. Dunlop, anybody? DuPont? We had all those disasters. Go look at Love Canal for those of you that don't know. That's free market in its entity, and the state sanctioned it and said, "Oh yeah, it's free market. We want to make sure we have that capitalist opportunity." So no, I want regulations. I just want smart ones.
Okay, that's fair. And then I'll ask another one this way, because I've been curious with this, because this is something that I have to deal with, at least in my real life and stuff, because this is the industry I work in. What is the Republicans' position on marijuana? Current, like, as a general mass position, what would you say, like, the majority of Republicans think about it today?
I think a lot of Republicans have switched. I think there's more on board with allowing it, and they're more about allowing that market to develop. I'm still old school. I also have an issue with liquor, but nobody's going to agree with my stance on it. I'm just saying I'm one of those that's probably best not asked. I think the war on drugs actually posed some good things in America, even though everyone else highlights all the negative. I often ask the question, well, what would have happened if we never had the war on drugs? How do you think it would have went? And no one can seem to answer that because I think it would be far worse. I don't know, actually. I'm not the guy to ask about.
Yeah, because the reason I say it is only because, like, for example, in my state, Florida, there was a whole amendment that was supposed to be passed last year about the legalization of it, right? Now, the problem came is that I myself, surprisingly enough, voted no on that amendment. But it wasn't because I didn't want the legalization to happen. It was because of the structure of the bill and how it was supposed to go through. So the structure of the amendment basically was that there would be, I work at a smoke shop, like a mom and pop smoke shop that's right around the corner and stuff, right? There's a ton of them around this area. There's also a couple of the medical industries too, right? Now, the medical industry fucking hates us because we have something called THCA, THCP, and all that type of stuff, right? Which is necessarily, because of the 2018 Farm Bill, doesn't classify it as marijuana, it classifies it as hemp, but it effectively is the same fucking thing. Right, because chemically, it's the same thing as if, like, the government says I can't sell steam in my store anymore, but I can sell water, and that's fine. And I give it to my customers; they heat it up at home, and what happens? It turns into fucking steam, because chemically, it's still just a precursor to steam. So, in the same way, and so THCA, the medical market, is not too happy because rather than people wasting a ton of fucking money and just getting a fucking medical license to get some Reggie off of theirs. Yes, Harry, Delta 8 and Delta 9 for the same thing. Delta 8 is synthetic, but I'm talking about THCA and THCP, which is not D8 at all. It's still within the THC family. Now, if you're talking about HHC, D10, etc., that's different. But the THC family tree is more than just the initial THC. THCA, just because there's an extra letter onto it, doesn't make it quote-unquote fake. That's just what somebody without an understanding of what the actual science is behind it says. Sorry. But continuing on, basically, because of that market, inside the bill, there was something that the lawyers of the smoke shops basically went through. And afterwards, they basically said that
the goal of that bill was the fees in order to get a license to be able to sell was going to be in like the high 6 digits, low 7 digits, right? When it came to, I'm pretty sure who would own that. Pretty sure it was like almost 100% vertical integration plan that they had thinking of inside of there, according to the lawyers that went through it. And it felt like basically the entire medical industry was trying to monopolize the entire marijuana industry in Florida at that point, right? Which means that it would have put, I don't know how many small businesses out, because the THCA and all that stuff is a big part of a lot of smoke shops' sales for the day, right? So it would have put a lot of the small a lot of the small businesses out. It would have put a lot of people out of work, just so the bigger people like True Leaf, Grow Healthy, et cetera, could have more profits and basically a monopoly on the entire industry, which is why I think regulation is necessary, because even when we want it for a good thing, we end up having people trying to take advantage of that and monopolize it and then not let anybody else put their feet inside the box.
Well, let me just say thank you, XG. I stopped smoking pot. I do the edible here and there. But I do support the slogan, "A friend with weed is a friend indeed." So it's popcorn style. I don't think anybody should be in prison for smoking weed or selling weed. I think marijuana should be decriminalized. And I think more people probably need to hit the blunt or two so they could be a little bit more chilled out and less triggered, you know? I fully support. If I was running for presidency, I would pot for everyone. If you're down, fuck it. Fuck it, just chill out, to be honest. So anyways, popcorn style, I can only stay until about 12, because then I got 12 my time, so that's about 20 minutes. My fellow mods, they'll decide if they want to keep the room open longer than that, because I have to prepare to host my own room, but it's popcorn style. And here comes my homie, Mr. Rolo, to the stage, but the mic is for anyone.
Yeah, I'll hop on real quick. I was away for a little bit, but just been reading the comments. You know, someone said illegal drugs have been I can't remember what they said, the downfall or have ruined this country. I think a lot of legal drugs have ruined this country. I just look at all the addictions that's happened because of legal drugs. Look at some manic episodes people have had, such as a lot of active shooters because of legal drugs. I mean, a lot of psychiatric medications, from anxiety medications, SSRIs, and actually, if you look at the labels, the side effects is suicidal thoughts and actions. And there's actually study, something I do in the past is study different active shooters. A lot of them recently started certain medications. Example that I was heavily involved with Stephen Padlock from Las Vegas, the guy that shot a shitload of people. And it was the one thing that he had going for him that could have changed his personality, because I did talk to the FBI agent who was running that show. He recently started anti-anxiety medications. So, yeah, it's not just the illegal drugs. And one drug that I would like to comment a couple drugs that really saved my life, because I used to deal with some pretty bad PTSD, was psychedelics, but not just taking psychedelics for fun, using it in a therapy modality. Those are substances that have saved many lives and have done it for many, many years. Even the founder of AA, Bill W., he had an LSD experience, and that was his spiritual experience that he heavily talked about. Back in the day, in the 50s and 40s, they were using LSD with great success, and MDMA in therapy sessions, and then those drugs were just demonized. Veterans right now have to go out of the country to get access to psychedelic assisted therapy, whether it's ayahuasca, ibogaine down in Mexico or Canada. And so, yeah, the whole drug thing is fucked up, and yeah, that's all I'll say for that one right now.
So. Oh, that would be exhausting.
Thank you, David.
Just real quick, I want to respond.
Go ahead, yeah.
Jennifer, when you say
my biggest concern with the cannabis industry is the chemicals that are not being used. Also, it become a very wasteful industry with all the batteries and disposables, stick with flower edibles. The chemicals part I will agree with. That is kind of concerning for sure. But when it comes with the waste of battery and disposables, I'll say the only reason that you get a lot of waste from the battery and disposables is because a lot of the reason people go to batteries and disposables for the most part is because they want A, convenience of being able to have it wherever they go, whenever they do, and B, because it doesn't leave as crazy of a smell as lighting up a regular joint, right? So it's looked at as more socially acceptable because people will probably just look at you and think you're hitting a regular vape, right? They don't know the difference if they don't smoke themselves. But for the most part, I think the more the social stigma of weed drops off, the less of batteries and carts that you're going to see. Because when I went to New York, for example, it's way more socially accepted up there. It smelled like weed everywhere over there, at least in the areas where I was at. So it was chill. Nobody really needed a cart or anything because you could just walk around and have a blunt in your mouth and you'd be fine, right? But in Florida, where I'm at, I don't really see that as much. At least the areas that I'm at here, I don't see that as much. So for the most part, I think it's mostly the social stigma that really pushes people to get something that's really not smelling, something that doesn't give away that it's weed, et cetera, something discreet and all that type of stuff. Because I know a lot of people that get one for work that they'll have on the side for them. So at least I think that's more of the reason why it feels more wasteful, because you got some societal implications that'll tend to make something that'll be wasteful like that.
Thank you, XG. The mic is open, guys. If you whatever you want to address the Trump Epstein list, who's on the list, why it matters, pot, cocaine, pro-drugs, anti-drugs. Mike, popcorn style. Otherwise, if there are no final thoughts, I'm going to start closing it down. Unless, Sig the driver, if you're there, you can keep it open. You know what I'm saying? I have to go prepare for my entertainment conspiracy UFO politics room, okay? So that's at 2 p.m. Central. So pop in if that's how y'all get down. Anything goes. It's a little less regulated than it is in here. But yeah, popcorn style, y'all got it. Somebody.
Girl, my whole life, it's always been not legal. I always smoke, regardless. I don't care. If it's like, I don't keep more than an ounce on me.
That's not what it means, Trent. Stop. To reduce our international diplomacy to that is really offensive. As somebody who does international work, that's some fuck shit for real. Now, then America has